Hi everyone, this is Joe with Car Care Team. We're going to replace the front and rear brake pads on this 2020 Infiniti QX50. Chock the opposite side wheel. Whenever we're replacing brake pads, it's always a good idea to resurface the brake discs. Brake discs can warp over time, which is an uneven surface that develops. Warpage is an uneven surface. This material is completely smooth and flat. Over time, from heating up and cooling down, this surface can become wavy. These little bulges can allow the brake pedal to vibrate, as well as the steering wheel when braking. When you have this condition, you absolutely have to either replace the brake discs or resurface them. When I observe the brake disc, we look for warpage. We look for blue spots, white spots, any kind of unevenness, any kind of grooves in the disc that can be felt with your hand. And this one looks really good. We didn't experience any vibrations when driving it, and so I don't believe there's a reason to resurface them. Resurfacing brake discs can shorten their life. Brake discs come brand new with a specific thickness. As they wear, they get thinner. When brake discs get too thin, the brake disc has to be replaced. There is a specified measurement the manufacturer requires the brake disc thickness to be for it to be either resurfaced, serviceable, or usable. If you experience any vibrations when braking, such as in the steering wheel or in the brake pedal or in the seat of the car, that's an indication that the brake discs are warped. The brake pads sit inside the brake caliper, which squeezes the brake disc in order to stop the car. We're going to remove the caliper in order to get access to the brake pads in order to replace them. To remove the caliper, we're going to need to access these two mounting points here and here. Now the caliper is really tight, and that's because over time from all that braking force, the caliper has really pressured onto the pads. So we're going to relieve that pressure a little bit. The first thing we're going to need to do is open the cap on the reservoir. One of the options to relieve the pressure is to open this bleeder valve to allow all that pressure to push the brake fluid out of here. Now that I've got my reservoir open, I'm going to push back on the piston inside the caliper using the C-clamp. This is going to allow me to freely maneuver the brake caliper. You want to do this very slowly, as not to overly pressurize the system. We're not putting very much pressure at all. If you feel any tension, you want to stop. I am feeling a bit of tension here, and so I'm going to stop, and I'm going to try and install the new brake pads like this. The upper fastener does not need to come out. Once I get the lower one out, I can actually flip the entire caliper over. Now it would be a good idea to hang a little bungee cord from here to the shock to make sure that it doesn't fall on you. So now we have access to our brake pads. The caliper has two pistons inside, which when you apply the brakes will squeeze onto these pads, which squeeze onto this disc in order to stop the car, since this disc is attached to the wheel and spins with the wheel. This is our outer brake pad, and it's soon to be needed. Here's our inner brake pad. There's no cracking, and they have even wear. These sensors here will actually touch the brake disc whenever you are about to go metal to metal. As you can see, this sensor has not touched yet, but it would have soon. And so we're going to replace these pads as a preventive measure before that happens. I'm going to clean our hardware here to make sure that we have a nice sliding area for our new brake pads. So this is going to give us a really nice surface for our brake pads to slide on. I like using the Evolution brake pads. They're made by Power Stop, and these are ceramic. So I'm going to transfer over the anti-rattle clips or anti-rattle shims. It's not required, but since they're in good condition, they can maintain a good noise reduction. These anti-squeal shims come with these aftermarket pads. These come on the original pads. I don't actually have to put them on because these aftermarket pads come with their own shims, but I like to use these because they are part of the original equipment, which is always best. Just like we took them out. Same thing on the inside. Check and ensure that the brake pad hardware is in place and it allows the pads to move freely while providing some tension. We can now go ahead and reinstall our caliper. And the lower mounting bolt. Let's retorque the lower fastener and the upper. I don't lubricate these points here and here because they didn't come lubricated from the factory, and so we're not going to add any kind of fluid or any kind of chemical to it that's going to allow it to attract the grease and attract the dust that's going to keep these brakes from lasting as long as they can. All I did was a pad slap. I just installed brand new brake pads. If I have any issues with vibrations, I will take care of the rotor at that time. At this time, I didn't think it's worth it to resurface the rotor because whenever you resurface the rotor, you shorten its life. I don't torque these all the way. Now let's do the rear. We've removed the rear wheel. We now have access to the brake pads housed inside this caliper. We're going to remove the two fasteners from back here. We've got one on top, one on the bottom. And then we've got this electronic brake actuator here and the connector. We've got to retract the piston in the caliper. I've always used a C-clamp for that as the only tool for retracting brake pistons and brake calipers. This one has an electronic parking brake that we have to disengage and remove before we can attempt to do that. In order for me to do that, I've got to go inside the car and we're going to disengage the parking brake inside. Then I'm going to remove it from the caliper. That way we can work with the caliper on its own. Make absolutely sure you've got your wheel chalked. Without applying the brake, hit the start button. Once the ignition is on, you can apply the brake and release the parking brake. Let go of the brake pedal really slowly. Turn off the ignition. Now, on most cars, you will have to leave the ignition on because whenever you turn off the ignition, it activates the parking brake on its own. This particular car allows you to leave the parking brake deactivated without the engine on, which is a really cool feature. Disconnect the electronic parking brake actuator connector. We've got to remove the upper fastener. This one has a jam nut. Remove the lower fastener. All right, we've got to remove the parking brake actuator. I'm going to break it free and remove the rest once it's completely out. All right, here's our brake caliper, and this is the electronic actuator for the parking brake. Instead of using the old-fashioned hand brake or foot brake, cars now have an electronic brake which activates when you turn the engine off or by pressing the parking brake button that's inside the cabin. In order to retract this piston, since the new brake pads are thicker than the old ones, we would need to depress this piston down. And in order to do that with my C-clamp, I've got to get really creative. Let me show you guys what I'm going to do. And here are the brake pads, which sit inside the caliper bracket. These were almost worn, and so we're going to replace them. Our caliper piston has to be retracted in order for the caliper to accept new brake pads, which are thicker than the old brake pads. In order to retract the caliper, there are several different tools available. I've always used a C-clamp, and that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to remove the actuator from the caliper. Just wiggle them apart. These things are expensive, so be very careful with it. This is the drive for the actuator to spin, to compress and decompress the piston that will grab onto the brake discs. We are now going to be able to retract the piston into the caliper. Open the brake fluid reservoir before retracting the caliper. In order to depress this caliper, we've got to spin this Torx back here, which is what the actuator activates in order to compress and decompress the piston. So we've got to put some pressure on here. My first thought was to hook up this way, but then I can't get my wrench on there. Can't quite control it. It wiggles too much. So then I started thinking, what we have to do is we have to give it room to go. It has nowhere to go right now. So if I back up the actuator, give it a head start. Now they're working together, and you can see the piston retracting. We're going to go all the way till we bottom out. Never put too much tension on here. Do this very gently. We now have enough room to install the new pads. I like to clean out the surface so the new brake pad has a nice smooth area to ride on. I don't see any lubrication that was on here, and so I'm not going to put any on. Lubrication can sometimes attract dust. Check and ensure that the brake pad hardware is in place and that it allows the brake pads to move freely while providing tension. Even though we disturbed the hardware, we did realign it. Let's reinstall the actuator back onto our caliper. You might have to twist it a little bit. That one lined up. And I'll just start the other side. We want to push it down together at the same time. Ensure this one is seated. We're going to torque them down once they're installed. Let's reinstall the caliper. We can reconnect our actuator. Torque down the actuator. Ensure that all the fasteners are connected properly, all the cables are ran at the right angles, and that the brake rotor spins with no problems. Let's go ahead and put the wheel back on. If you put the bottom one on first, it can't move. And you could put the other ones on with ease. Never torque these all the way. Let's close the brake reservoir. Don't forget to pump up the brakes. Engage the parking brake. Disengage it. Let's go for a test drive. I did a test drive and everything is good. I am going to drive it a little bit more because I want to embed these brakes. I always recommend for people to brake real carefully for the first 50 to 100 miles, not only because the brake pads are new and they're not as grabby, but also because it will help to develop a wear pattern, which will increase the biting power of your brake pads, as well as increase the brake pad life and decrease the potential for brake squeaks. I hope you guys like this video. Please leave your questions in the comments, and thanks for watching.